frightened them to death, and they turned around the corner and went back.
Yeah, they tend to go back when you ask for the paperwork, and then they tend to come back with like 20 police and no paperwork, and then chuck you out and steal all your belongings.
Probably thrown a commercial lien at them, or just in simple terms for the listeners, an affidavit of truth somewhere they haven't told the truth, so they don't like it.
Yeah. You there, Andy?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
I do one job at a time because it's the only way of doing it properly.
Yeah. I think we got a big improvement on the sound here for some reason.
We've got a lady calling in about 8:30. She emailed me, and I won't say the name unless she wanted me to, but I said to her, call me at 8:30 and we'll get her on. So I don't know if you knew she's calling in or aware of it, but she emailed me.
I don't know, a few people told me they're gonna call in, but some people call my mobile. I call my business line, or they call the American. The people are crazy, man. I'm telling you.
Well, actually, it's not confusing, but you could be confused.
Yeah.
If you want to call the American number, but it'll cost you like 20p a minute, so I wouldn't advise calling that number. But for the UK call, please call 01223. That's the code for Cambridge, 96 96 48. I picked them numbers deliberately because they're easy to remember. It's not where I live, but it's an easy number. Cambridge 96 96 48, and talk to your host, Anthony Badaloo, and me, I'm just Mr. Techie.
Yeah. Okay, so what we were saying about Nilu, so
that was good. That was good news, yeah. If that happened,
it's a win, and when we get a win, however small, we got to celebrate and broadcast it everywhere, because what should really happen today is these people who came and turned back. It clearly means that whatever they were doing was illegal. Would you agree?
Well, they've admitted it by not sticking to their remit, which was to take away all possessions and people out of this house and claim it as their own. Because they never done that, because they were scared of paperwork issues or other things, they're obviously not acting truthfully and correct.
Well, bottom line is, Andy, it's supposed to carry, it's an offense to make false claim to a court document under the County Court Act 1984, Section 135. It's 7 years in jail. An indictable offense goes straight to the Crown Court in front of a jury. So my curiosity is, why aren't they being arrested?
Going back to previous shows and previous people, I think it's because we allow it to happen, although people like Nilu don't, but the majority of the public allow it to happen. They're afraid that, if they go and arrest the police, the MP, the bailiff, they're going to get in trouble themselves because, they don't realise it has actually been done. So we need to try and wake up the new people now, not the people who are awake. We want to wake up the asleep.
Well, what it is, how I would like to phrase it is, okay, this was something that the public wasn't aware of before. They were not being made aware of by the police, nor their solicitor, nor the barrister, nor the judges. But now, thanks to the social media and people like Freedom Talk Radio, the whole world is getting to know. So there is an increased probability that one of these, I was going to say another word, Andy, one of these human beings will be arrested and then open the gate for others. And I read in the papers somewhere, in the Echo newspaper, some bailiffs were actually arrested and their firm shut down for these things. And so the tap is opening, and I hope we can follow through. We can follow through with more. And you know, I remember the guy, the young chap who died. What was his name? Mr. Rodriguez, 22-year-old courier, fit, strong, healthy guy. He was so scared of the bailiffs, he had a heart attack. And it's reported in the papers everywhere that this guy had a heart attack because he was in debt and the bailiffs came. None of the papers reported that the bailiff had a bogus warrant.
That's sad.
Well, you know, this is what people like you are here for, and to bring it out. And it's not too late. The CPS, if you're listening, go and do something. You'll be embarrassed. You know, the police, do something. Mr. Rodriguez lost his life, and we need something done on these bogus court proceedings. They're stealing people's homes, savings, businesses, and children. So if you think you're accumulating something to leave behind, there's someone else counting your wealth and whatever you've achieved, or if you have a council house in a desirable area, there's a property developer somewhere who wants your house, and look out for the bogus court proceedings that someone's going to come and take your house. Look out. And we got to act in numbers. They like to deal with one person at a time, and each person suffers in silence because the media, the BBC, Channel 4, the Times, the Sun, the Mirror, the Star, the whatever galaxy you want to go to, nobody is talking about falsified court proceedings. Nobody's talking about it, and it is the biggest problem in the society today.
Yeah, I mean, the old people also, when they get ill, what they do is they'll blame the families for arguing, you know, over who's going to care for Mr. or Mrs. elderly, not well relative, and the nurses first at the hospital pick it up. Oh, you know, they're winding each other up. That's a good, or they're vulnerable. That's a good target. So then they I don't know who they tell, but I've seen it actually happen to us, and I've seen it happen to others as well. So I know it goes on. They find the vulnerable, they get their assets stripped, and blame it basically on the family for arguing over the estate before the person's dead. But really, you know, there wasn't probably arguing over the estate. It was more arguing over the care. You know, who's going to look after them now if they're in a wheelchair, as an example. And that's how these ill old people lose all their house. And
well, I got a little story because I like to personalize it, you know, make it real. Because one of my clients now is a consultant at the hospital, and he had a massive stroke, and he didn't have much family, and one of the other consultants has taken over all his affairs, and as far as we're aware, there's no authority anywhere. He's cashed in his insurance and done all sorts of things and made application to the Court of Protection to be his guardian and all that. And you think, gosh, he's on the team that is deciding that this man's care should be suspended or not suspended, and it's unbelievable that this is gone on. So there's a chair there. Yeah. So Andy, there's a conflict of interest is unbelievable. The other trick is if you own a property, you can register for free at the land registry, something called like a property alert. And what it does, it tells you, you get an email every time someone interrogates your title on your property. And what people are finding out when they register for this facility is that the council is checking out your property on a regular basis. Why would that be, Andy?
Obvious.
What interest has the council got in your private real estate? And what someone told me a statistic, which I believe is true, that the councils in the UK, up and down, collectively, are repossessing more properties than all the banks and building societies put together. How is that?
No, I read an article out. Because they've used new statistics, it shows that there's a decline in social housing evictions up until recently because of the new stats that they use, and the private rented evictions have took over. But I wonder.
Yeah, we are here today to kind of focus on illegal eviction, and we just had one of Nilu's friends popped into the studio here, and she assisted her with preparation and stuff. So can we give a little round of applause to Nilu, please?
I've normally got a jingle, but my jingle machine's not working tonight.
Nothing like the old hand clap, Andy. Yeah, that's good. That's good. And I went into an old people's home today to see a gentleman called Michael Sage, and I did a little video about his story. He bought a house off the road, and anyway, the long and short of it, he was robbed of it, and he went to seek the help of his MP, which is my MP, Teresa Villiers. And Teresa Villiers told him she can't assist him because the matter is in court. So Teresa Villiers is a ex-barrister, and she was caught up somehow in the expenses scandal and all that. She's a Tory MP, and she also told me the same thing in my case before I got a little bit wise. She told me, the matter is in court. The problem is the matter is not in court because it's a bogus proceeding. It is not in the court. So we're going to go back to Teresa Villiers and say, look, madam, this matter is not in court. And with your legal background, I believe you're the best positioned person to do something about it and to be aware. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I was actually reading something while you were talking, and I'm a bit gobsmacked.
You're a multitasker, Andy.
I'm a bit gobsmacked what these MPs, come up with the excuses, or there's not many, is there, that actually want to help you?
Well, okay, so I'm going to run through. If you're facing eviction, and in my opinion, there's a more than 90% chance that your eviction or threat, or if you had an eviction in the past, the 90% chance it is illegal. So I'm saying this in the public domain, and if anyone thinks I'm lying, come and sue me, and I can prove it to you. So you have various options which people are not aware of, and I went through the whole thing, and my barrister, despite the 20-odd grand fees, has never assisted me to explore these options. The number one option, and anyone doing an eviction on someone has to write to the council. So the council has a duty under the Human Rights Act and other laws, because you're paying your council tax, they have a duty of care to investigate illegal eviction. On my council, Barnet, on their website, it actually has a list of people that they've prosecuted who have carried out illegal eviction, which is fantastic. But it doesn't have a single bank or large company on there, or council, where we have the evidence on the court record that these are illegal. So if you are faced with an eviction and so on, you can contact the tenancy relations officer at your council. They have a duty and they have a salary and a job and a responsibility to investigate if your eviction is illegal. So we just have to get people to write to them, contact them, put the pressure on in numbers. They have a job and a salary, and they're supposed to. Like I said, even if you're not sure, I am telling you 90% probability your eviction is illegal. The laws governing eviction are very complex and it's multi-stage. You can't be evicted in one fell swoop and have your land and property taken at the same time as well and be thrown out. It's not possible in English law. You got that, Andy?
Well, I was thinking it may not be possible in English law, but it's probably probable because they don't follow the law.
Okay, and what happens when you don't follow the law and you do something, Andy?
You get into trouble.
You're committing a crime.
Yes.
Right. And what happens when you commit a crime?
For normal people, the police will tell you off and arrest you and charge you and send you to court.
Right. So it is our push and our job. We know it's not happening where it's supposed to happen in these cases. This is our push, and with your wonderful help and technological wizardry to be inventing a radio station out of fresh air and have it live on Facebook and all this, that we can bring this up and let people know. And if everyone starts to push the councils and take it further and they lose their jobs, the head of my council, of Barnet Council, lost his job for vote rigging. They're not invincible, yeah? So that's one option, the tenancy relations officer. And your MP. You know, people write to their MP and ask for help for distress and all this, but how about writing to your MP and saying, I believe the court proceedings being used against me are false, and there's a criminal act being committed, and I want you to investigate this serious matter. Yeah? And if she needs some advice and clarification, you send her to the website www.brexitrevolution.com. You will see all the case laws, all the evidence you need in your life to see that there's a serious malaise going on, and we got to turn the screw on these MPs, embarrass them. When you phone them, video it and put it up on YouTube. Nobody can harm you when you tell the truth. They can only harm you for slander. Don't slander anyone. Put the truth, put the case, put the name and the face. Let their grandchildren see it.
Yeah, I mean, even Shelter, in a few articles,
Shelter.
and that's the National House and Charity, are actually saying illegal evictions are on the rise.
Shelter is pointing out, and Shelter have two publications. Shelter has a publication that goes to the public, and they have another publication that goes out to professionals. And in the publication that goes to the public, it's a little bit lightweight on the illegal eviction, but the version that goes out to professionals, they have a chapter in there about illegal eviction. And interestingly, it tells you if you've been illegally evicted, you have a right in law to break back into your home. This is Shelter. And we printed this off and gave it to the police once for a gentleman to take to the police station when he was kicked out of his home by the council, funny enough. And the police came to his house and kicked the door in and let him back in his house. Isn't that amazing, Andrew? Andy?
I'd like to shake their hands, for sure.
Yeah, so this is a live case. It happens. It's rare, but this, if you don't unlock these hidden avenues and push the buttons, nothing's going to happen. People have, we've fallen asleep for the last 40 years and we don't know wrong from right. We don't know our rights. We don't know the law. We don't know these things are buried and hidden. But sometimes you'll be amazed if you push the button, the lights flash.
Amazing. So,
we try to concentrate on the positive and where results are being achieved. And we think this, we just have to increase it, Things are already happening, So the other thing is your MP and then the courts. You go to court, you appeal and appeal and appeal, and everybody gets the same answer. Your appeal has been dismissed. There being no merit. Yeah? Everybody gets that. And what does that mean, Andy?
Everyone gets no merit. So, to me, that means nobody's believed.
No, that means it's a code word that the judges are using to cover their backsides. Yeah? Okay. No merit means it's a bogus case. Yeah? And it is not possible for a bogus case to have any merit. How about that?
Well,
huh?
Amazing.
So you have to appeal. You have to use one sentence. If you appeal or whatever, make a counterclaim or you write for the court manager for an administrative order, that it's got nothing to do with the judge. But the magic line, this is one line that people can learn, and it's the most powerful line in the English law that they don't teach at law school, and no lawyer will tell you. The line goes like this: I have never been served with any proceedings issued by the court. That line, Andy, that is the nuclear button.
Which proves, obviously, it's all illegal.
Well, it's not issued by the court. So what are they going to say to it? They're going to say, oh, no, you're not correct, Mr. Pincher. It was issued by the court. Well, let's have a check. Let's have a look. Was it? It has a court name and address and whatever, letterhead and all that. But was it issued by the court? Do they have a notice of issue?
Yeah, and they have to have a barcode, don't they, or an issue number and a proper stamp, as we've talked about in previous shows. And
yeah,
learning from other situations, just a comment here, learning from other situations where cars have been taken and you parked in the wrong place, blah, blah, blah. That is a civil matter, technically, at that point. So they shouldn't be involving the police to collect money or to tow cars away. When it becomes law or lawful, you get that stamp, you get that barcode, and then, okay, you've lost everything because you would have had a chance to defend yourself if it got to the stage where you've got the right documents in front of you. And that's what they're trying to do, aren't they? They're trying to... It don't matter whether it's evictions, whether it's, parking, child stealing by the state. It's all about the same thing. They're trying to do it illegally, and I still personally think some people are just letting them do that. We need to step up. I've lost my kids. I deliberately don't own anything and don't have any money. That's why they can't take nothing else from me. That's why I do this.
It helps. I put my car in the name of my business, so tool of your trade and all that. You can do things to minimize, but you shouldn't have to. We live in a free country, and if you haven't done any wrong, you mentioned about cars. I have a video out with they clamped my car and all that, totally illegally, and the title of the video is illegal bailiff trapped. And I explain in the video, I'm talking to these bailiffs and giving the law and showing that they can't show me any document, blah, blah, blah. It's very educational for the public. That video is heading towards 100,000 hits on YouTube, Andy. So you see the power we have with a mobile phone, yeah. But if the converse is also true. If we don't do anything, this is a passive. The statistics are on an eviction case in the court. 95% of the victims do not turn up for the court, so the gangsters have free assets. You know?
I learned that 3 years ago, I think, or when I first met Nilu. We were talking about somebody's eviction. It wasn't Tom's, but she actually told me that stats, and she said people are just petrified, but all they have to do is, and a lot of these common law people that believe in common law, I certainly do, is, you know, you just got to say simple things like, I don't agree, I don't consent, I don't want you to do this, and can you prove that you have the legal lawful right? You know, and that is enough for them to stop, I think, initially at least.
The problem is, if you take a deeper dive into the, I like to use the word proceedings because, you know, if we talk about a court order, it's a single piece of paper and stuff, but there has to be a series of steps taken by law in order to get an order against someone, because it's a big deal. You could get a court order that gives you life in prison. So the whole steps have got to be the procedure, the proceedings got to be correct. So what is happening is, in order to take someone's property, you've got several issues. You got the property, the land where the property sits. Then you've got the occupational rights. So if you live in a premise, if you live somewhere, you have occupational rights. Whether you have a contract, you're a tenant, homeowner, whatever you are, you've got occupational rights. And that is a separate proceeding in law from the ownership of the land.
Sorry, Anthony, to interrupt. We've got the caller on the line.
Okay.
Hello, caller. Do you have a question or a comment?
Yeah, I emailed in earlier.
Okay, no problem, yeah.
I just wanted to talk about an experience we had in court, picking up from what a gentleman was saying last week.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, you carry on, and when you finish, Anthony will, you know, interject with you. So, yeah, tell us what you know.
We were summoned to court to have a public examination by the service, and didn't really know what we were going to be, what a public examination involved, didn't know what to expect. But just from help and advice from Anthony and others, we knew that we had to confirm that we were playing on a level playing field with the judge and confirm that he was acting under his oath. So when the judge asked us to stand in the stand and speak under oath, we said that we would be happy to do so, providing he would confirm he was acting under his oath. He ultimately wouldn't do that. He turned to the insolvency and asked them what they would like him to do, and they requested he put a committal order together. And he read the section that he believed he had the authority to do so, but it didn't fit with us because we were saying that we were happy to do what he wanted us to do. And that was his issue. He couldn't do anything bad to us because we were happy to do what he wanted us to do, providing he was acting under his oath of office. And he clearly wasn't.
Yeah, that was one of the better court performances I've seen, and your son has just joined in on Facebook, so this is a family affair. But it's a fantastic idea, and the principle of that is called a conditional offer. And I learned this from, I'll give credit to Simon Goldberg, the White Rabbit guy who runs the White Rabbit Trust. If someone's coming to you with rubbish, you can fight them, and you can do another technique like a jiu-jitsu move. You can say, okay, fine, I'll comply, I'll do whatever you say, if you show me the authority on which you're acting. So a bailiff came to my house a couple of weeks ago. I think I mentioned it before, and I phoned him up and I said, I want to pay you. How much do I owe you? Blah blah blah. And I said, okay, collect your money. You can have a check, cash, whatever you want. If you show me the court order, sealed by the court, blah, 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 blah. And he ran away. He didn't even want to meet me. He said, I'm taking this paper back to the office. So what you did there, Sadie, you said to the judge, I am happy to swear under oath, whatever. If you tell me, confirm to me, you're under your oath. And what we found out is these judges are not under oath, they are not insured, and even the court buildings don't even have public liability insurance. So in a way, they are not even legitimate businesses. If you slip on the bathroom floor and break your elbow or something, you got no insurance. If the judge done something negligent or something, you got no cover. And they're not acting under their oath. That means in these county courts, these orders they're putting out are not sealed and they're not signed because they can't. They're just dodgy pieces of paper. The people were brought up to respect the law on the principle of what do they call this? There's a word for it. Assumption and presumption. When you see a police uniform, you make an assumption and a presumption that this person is a law enforcement person to protect you from evil and to enforce rights. But if a gangster puts that uniform on, we have the same presumption and assumption, even though he's a criminal. And this is how we are being conned day in, day out. We have to question, and when you're finished, more questions. Who are you? What are you? Show me your credentials. Show me your paperwork. And dig behind. When I was in the criminal court for trespassing in my own property, and I was asking about the proceedings, the barrister for the CPS said to me, I'm not allowed to look behind the court order. I'm not allowed. So how am I going to know if it's a fraud or not? It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. And in the end, they brought some bogus court papers from, we found out later they didn't get it from the court. So this is what the police are capable of doing, making stuff up. Unbelievable. But yeah, Sadie, you did so well, and Bob, you're heroes. You know, they're giving out what do they call these things that the Queen give out to people who kiss her ass? What's it called? Annual awards or knighthoods and all that. You and Bob should get something, man. MBE or OBE, because you've done twice now in the court what I haven't seen anyone else done, and it's amazing, and it's progressed your case. And it's put the fear of God into these people. I'm very certain, Sadie, from the actions you have taken and by standing your ground and stuff, and Bob, a lot of other people are benefiting, and they will just think that little bit twice about this, the stuff they're doing. And this is what it will take, more and more people. But people need to know what you've done and how you've done it so that they can have the confidence and a little bit of know-how to do it as well. And break the back of this corruption.
I think the point is when you understand and realise that they're just people, they're just people doing a job or whatever. You are the powerful one. You call the shots. We watched quite a lot on YouTube, but one in particular that we've seen with Veronica Chapman really covers how to implement your power as just by questioning and making sure that everyone, it's just a game. So if we're all playing a game, let's just make sure we're playing an equal game and we're all playing by the same rules. So it's much, much easier when you understand it in that format to walk into a courtroom and just clarify that everyone's there playing the same game under the same rules. And until we've clarified that point, we can't proceed forward. And then it really takes that element of fear away, because, even if they try to proceed forward, based on what you've already said, the judge did try and proceed forward, and we just said, look, we don't understand. We don't understand the game you're trying to play. And that really stopped everything. I think it was the shortest hearing we've ever had. We were in and out within half an hour.
That's amazing. But we don't understand means also you're not standing under them. It's like a Rastaman language. I'm not standing. I don't understand. They used to say in Jamaica, we don't overstand or something like that. But it actually has a strong meaning in the court. I don't understand. And they always say to you very strongly, do you understand? You go, no. It's very powerful.
Yeah, Anthony, I think this couple deserve a Citizens Achievement Award. We could give them one of them.
Citizen Achievement Award. Yeah, it's amazing. They've done so well. The thing is, they stick to the simple things. When we tell people, when people have a situation coming up against them, what the criminals want to do, they want to drag you down towards the end very fast. So you go from A, B, C, D on to Z. Z is when they take everything you got. But if you stick to A and don't move until A is clarified, they can't move. And the problem is, it is so very hard to get people to stick to A. In all these bogus proceedings, the very simple fact is the court fee is not being paid. Yeah? Because they can't pay a court fee because it's a bogus case. A bogus case, you can't pay the fee. It will go into the accounting system, and it will go into book 28, and it will go into the banking, and it will end up in the treasury. There's a trail. So if it's a bogus case, they can't pay the fee because it will tie the thing up in the proper channel. And if you get your computer record and you find out that your fee hasn't been paid, don't move. You just say, the fee hasn't been paid. This case has not been issued by the court, and I have no case to answer. So they have to prove to you that you're wrong. I mean, this is what a computer record looks like. It's like a logbook, and it shows the A to Z of your case. And you can write a simple letter to the court and request it. And this is my computer record. And I'm going to show live you know, they say something here, they claim possession of my property on this document. And then it says I have arrears of mortgage. And they said they paid a court fee here of £175. But it says arrears of my mortgage is 0. Yeah? So there's no case number on that page. I'm trying to find the 0. But where is it? This is a bit fiddly, but you know, 0. And I'm going to show the first page of this. They made a notice of issue document just to give people an idea what they need to look for, the forensic examination of your court file. This is where you can't lose. Somebody made up that we asked for the notice of issue. That's to show that the case was issued by the court. So somebody made this up. And if you look at the dates there, it says the case will be heard on the 3rd of October 2014 at 2 p.m. But it says it was issued on the 30th of October 2013, a year later. So they've made a mistake. And the computer don't make mistakes. It's generated, so somebody has hand typed this up. But when you look in the computer record, it doesn't show anywhere that the case was issued. And then you get this on section 3. Where is it? No caseman payments have been made for this case. That means no court fee has been paid. And the case could never have been issued by the court. And we asked the question, somebody called Blaise Tagula or something, forgive me if I promise his name wrong, wrote to the Ministry of Justice and asked, what does that sentence mean exactly? And they said it means no fee has been paid. And then I wrote a letter to the Ministry of Justice and asked, what does it mean if no fee has been paid? They said it means the case is void and could never have been issued by the court. So we got it all locked down. And I can tell you, if you've been repossessed or bankrupt or had land registry fiddle your documentation to steal your asset or even your children, please, please, please request your computerized court records, and you will get the hard evidence in black and white that you have been robbed. And you fight on that only. Forget all the other stories, just the fact that your case has never been issued by the court and is void ab initio, meaning from the beginning. And that's nothing more. You push that all the way with 100% of your effort, and then you will have time to relax and enjoy life because your case is so simple.
But the fact is, even though we've requested again and again and again from court,
that's the other matter. We're requesting these, and they're trying now not to give it, but that is in your favor because either it does not exist or it is being concealed, and in either case, you're a winner. So we gotta push in numbers. One by one, they bury us. You know.
Well, even the royal courts are just, no, the ministry, no. Oh, I get confused with all these bodies.
You mean the bankruptcy things, the bankruptcy proceedings?
No, the Ministry of Justice.
Yeah.
I've even requested the court records from them and paid the fee twice. And still have not been supplied.
Yeah, on the Data Protection Act, a SARS request. If the court don't give you, you can make a SARS request. That's subject access request and pay £10 fee, whatever, to the Ministry of Justice. And a lot of people got, but they seem to be stopping it. So that means they're committing a crime. So once you're committing a crime, when someone asks you a very simple question, you know you've got them. You can go to court and say, my defense is that this case has not been issued by the court, and my evidence, I requested these documents, and it's been concealed. You know, when you put any letter to anyone, don't do letters, do notices. At the top of your letter, you put notice and request. And at the end of the letter, you put implied admission by the absence of a response. This letter will be used in evidence, and after you sign off, CC to whom it may concern. A letter structured like that, I call it a smart letter. If they don't give you the information you require, it's an implied admission. Either they're concealing it, which is a fraud act violation and carries 10 years in jail, or it doesn't exist and it's a bogus case, like a bogus passport, no different. So with Sadie, with your case, they've never been able to. Oh, they tried to give you some documents to say they're receipts, didn't they? And it was all a mess, and they still haven't given you the computer record.
No, still had nothing.
Yeah, so.
But they've taken plenty of money from us directly out of our accounts.
Yeah, it's straight robbery, and you know, there's so many people have lost and lost and lost. That's why we're working. We're working to try and stop this and to restore what people have lost. And we're trying to get it done from a government level, and we have to do things. We got the miracle of social media. That is what did not exist when these crimes were invented. There was no social media. They could not bank that we could have a live, to me, this is like a live TV program. We're talking on a radio and it's live on Facebook. And it's going to be recorded and stored on there forever. Then it's going to go on you. This is not, they cannot believe this is happening. And it is happening with very simple technology that a few years ago would have cost tens and tens of thousands, if not more. So this is the weapon that they don't have an answer to. I put all my stuff out. I put their names. I put what they did. I put the case numbers. I don't slander anybody. I just put what happened. Nothing they can do. And it is very embarrassing for them. And when you're in the court and all your story and your stuff is out there on YouTube and the judge sits down, they know. I spoke to a Mr. Dyke, Mr. Waite at the upper tribunal in London. And hi Mervyn, one of my old schoolmates, some unbelievable the power of this thing. But you know, Mr. Waite said to me, oh, Mr. Badaloo, I know everything about your case. I've seen it all on the internet. This guy is the head of the legal section in the upper tribunal. Unbelievable. So my case is already tried before I go in, and the judge ruled against me. But he put in his statement, or whatever it is, he didn't issue an order against me. But he said, for the avoidance of doubt, I make no finding of facts. Is that nice? He's trying to help me. Yo, Donald. People join on.
Well, I don't think the judge felt the same about us when he put his order together.
Your judge was Judge Perry, wasn't it? Yeah.
We have had Judge Perry. I thought it was Davis this time.
I don't know. They change them all the time.
Judge Davis.
Okay. But yeah, your case is super case, and they've adjourned your case. They said we've adjourned it instead of giving you the win. Yeah, they said we've adjourned it indefinitely. Sadie, you need a win. You need to get your stuff back. You need to get some compensation. I need to put a bill in for my fees. You know, very large bill. But we're gonna let them chill for a while on the indefinite adjournment, and we're gonna go back after them. But this time, we're pursuing them. They're not pursuing us. And it would be a better
Yeah.
feeling.
Well, I don't really know what to say about that.
Well, they parked it in the long grass, Sadie. No one's on your back now. You know,
No.
we're not talking about public examination and all this nonsense, and you know.
It just seems, it's just unbelievable when, you know, because we won't comply, because the evidence in front of the judge on the day that we were actually made bankrupt, almost a year ago, was to issue a valid petition. And it's only because we won't comply that, you know, they're now sort of punishing us further by putting us in indefinite bankruptcy.
Which could work out well, because I haven't got to pay tax now.
I can hear somebody say that means we don't have to pay tax, but it does compromise your life.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, that's how can you pay tax if you're bankrupt?
I mean, a bankrupt is an actual, no, it's like a murder. It's like a financial murder because you're killing that person financially. That person is bankrupt means they can't function financially. They're financially dead. So it's a murder, really. Huh?
Well, if they've murdered us,
It's definitely getting no tax.
So it's a big problem. But the thing you got to realize, Sadie, is you have put them now in a position of fear. They're scared. What are they going to do? You know, and when we did the computer searches on you at the registry trust and all these places, it doesn't show the bankruptcy.
no.
The computer is my friend in these things. I trust the computer. I don't trust the other paperwork they do because, you know, the computer is solid. If anyone goes in and logs in to change anything, it shows when you log in, what time, what's your password, blah, blah, blah. So it's solid forensic evidence. And your evidence is saying, you know, there's nothing.
No, I'm yet to see any concrete evidence.
There was no application for a bankruptcy against you, was there?
Nope.
Yeah.
No, what's sad though is that we work for ourselves, so you know we're used to getting my customers to pay me however I want to. But if we were in full-time jobs, professions where we were being paid by a body, so to speak, well then they would be raping our money at source, wouldn't they?
You know, yeah, like one of our guys, Dragutin Popovic, whose thing is on the our site is called Kidnap of Dragutin Popovic. The police actually came and locked him up to help people steal his stuff. It's unbelievable. But they try to then take money from his wages. He has a very good job in a big company. And we challenged the deduction from his wages. Where is the court order? And the employer was 100% on the side of the gangsters and was taking out money. Over Christmas, they took out like £1,700 out of it. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then after he was fighting and fighting, they sacked him.
Yeah.
I sent a letter to the employer, 5 minutes to 4, and we got 7 minutes past 4, a letter back restoring his job. Are we doing something right?
Yeah.
But the problem, you know, Dragutin's a great fighter, but the thing is, you know, they will try and take it from your wages and all that on the basis of a court order. Where is the court order? Come on, where is it?
Yeah.
Show me which court it came from.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, and on coming back to your case, Sadie, we put a video out where we tried to arrest the judge, and we even got a crime number and all this, and as far as I'm aware, it's still a live case. but
I believe so.
we put out a video called criminal judge arrest. And nobody has done us for slander, have they?
No.
They haven't even complained. They haven't even said, "Oh, this man's called me a criminal. I want to sue him for slander and 50 grand, whatever." No, they're all quiet. So what does that mean? Does that mean we're lying? We got a crime
no
number
reason
on the judge and the lawyer. A proper crime number. And by the way, this was from Rumford Court, and we got about. Is your case in Rumford? We got about.
Yes, it's Rumford.
We got about 10 cases or 10 cases, all from Rumford. Not a single person have been given their computerized court record. So Rumford County Court, you are a hotbed of criminal activity, pumping out bogus court proceedings, which are not from the court, but just criminals using your address. I'm saying this. Thank you very much. Sue me.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
One day, all your victims should get together, Sadie, and make an appointment with the court manager, and bring the police and demand an arrest. That's what I believe, because if you have 10 people, maybe you can get 15 if you try, from the one court. Everybody act together. This court manager should be banged up. And whoever she is serving, because she is serving a criminal cartel somewhere who is stealing the assets. I think it's a she, isn't it? I think I met her. Lovely woman. I bet her husband thinks she's a nice lady doing a nice job. But he doesn't know what she gets up to when she puts on her clothes and leaves the house.
You might be married to a judge.
I
don't make assumptions.
I don't think so, Sadie, because the judge would know the true character. He would never marry such a woman. But yeah, this is
seems to be dragons.
Yeah, but they are the puppets. They are powerful criminal cartels pulling the strings, but that will come to light. You can only hold the person that comes to you accountable, and then it will come to light who is behind it. Yeah.
Was he gone again, Andy?
No, I'm here.
Oh, you're there. Okay.
He likes his gadgets.
Sorry?
I said you like gadgets.
I am what, sorry?
Yeah, exactly. That sounds exactly right.
Well, listen, that's all I had to say, and I hope it helps.
Thank you very much. That's been fantastic. Your case is a blessing. It gives hope to so many people. Your videos are kicking it on YouTube. Criminal judge arrest. That's a fantastic one. And there's a couple of others. Keep up the work, and God bless you. I hope you get to restore. I know you guys are rock and roll. You live a great life regardless anyway. But I hope you get to restore some of your position as if the crime never happened.
Well, we can live in hope.
It's not hope. You're working bloody hard as well.
We do. We always do.
You're a star.
You're also doing a great job.
You're superstars, and believe me, your case is going to be one of the cases that break through the glass ceiling of this bogus court proceedings, because they said it's postponed indefinitely. So, but we'll attack it another way in time. But thank you very much for calling in.
Okay. Speak to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Andy. Sadie.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, well, if you need any encouragement, that is the one you need.
Yeah, super guy, wonderful family. Yeah, Andy, so the question is, you know, what do you do? We were on that, so you can go back to the courts, and we covered that a little bit, and you can take it all the way to the Supreme Court. All you've got to say, I've never been served with any proceedings issued by the court, and here is my computer record to back it up. End of story. No more. No more.
And add that little bit extra on. I don't really understand what's going on.
Well, that's when they ask you questions. I don't understand. I don't know what you're talking about. But, you know, the thing is, you can take that right up to the Supreme Court. And it seems to be the higher you go, the justice gets a little better. The county courts are just pigsties, you know?
Yeah.
They can't do you for what you don't have. You do a budget of £1 a week. You can have a life if you pay £1 a week. So when you're dead, they can give you the old coffin. Sorry. Fear will go nowhere. So anyway, you know, following the court system, the problem is you just have to vote that it's not a court case. But the other issue, and if someone does a crime against you, in principle, it's very simple. You should be able to take out criminal proceedings against them. Yeah?
No, you're not allowed them, apparently.
No, I'm not saying you're allowed or not. In principle, I said, yeah?
Oh, yeah, in principle, yeah.
Someone does a crime against you, you go and you take criminal action against them. But the problem is, we're getting somebody like, say, British Gas or the utility companies. They're going into the magistrate's court and issuing summons for money by the thousand. Somebody put up on here, Andrew Pepin, God bless him. He said one of these magistrates' court issued 510 council tax liability orders today. One court. For money? How can you issue a magistrate's court criminal summons for money? You can't. They're not liability orders. They're not registered in the computer of the court. They're nothing. The letters that come, it says on the back of it, please don't write to the court. Is there a clue in there? It's a court summons, and it says, please don't contact the court.
Because we never really issued it.
Yeah. I mean, Andy, we have become very, very stupid, haven't we? You get a court document, summoning you to court, it says don't contact the court. So the council hires the room in the court, and they're issuing false paperwork claiming to be liability orders. You can't get a summons for money, you know. So the utility companies are getting orders and supposedly things from the criminal court by the thousand. I went to Willesden Court to get a summons myself and to check my record. I'm clean as a whistle. So I allegedly had a criminal charge for trespassing in my own house, which doesn't show on the computer system. So it's obviously not true, and it can't be true. But when I went there, I saw a guy from Eon utility company, and the person at the court counter gave him the court stamp, and he had a big pile of documents on the counter, and he was just stamping them, bam, 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 just like that. It's unbelievable. Nobody's checking it, nobody's reading it, there is no witness statement, there is blah, 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 blah. Straight fraud. So I tried to get a summons against the people who made up the false court documents. And I went in there 14 times. There's a guy called Michael Wood, who's the head of legal department, told me all kind of stories. He's not coming into work. He's just running away left, right, and center. 14 times. And I did everything correctly, and they still haven't issued my summons. Now I've had, in our group, we have another few people, very intelligent people, who are trying to get summonses as well. And not one have been issued. And all it requires to issue a summons in a magistrate court is called to lay an information. So you write down what the crime was against you, who did the crime, and what law did this person break. And that is all you need to issue a summons. You go in, you swear under oath, they stamp it, give it back to you. There is no fee to file a criminal claim, to issue a summons. It's a free service. That's all that is required. And when you're trying to do it and you have the black and white evidence, because like I will keep repeating, the strongest evidence you can possibly get is the computer records from the court. They still won't give you the summons. So that means they are protecting and guarding the criminals. They are protected by the system, so the victim cannot sue them. Over to you, Andy.
Yeah, I don't know what to say anymore, because every show I'm doing at the moment seems very similar. We need to do something about it, you know. There's some people that are very calm and we just need to follow the law and do it the legal, lawful way. Some people want to arrest the MPs, the police. Some people just want to ignore what's going on, and I kind of get a bit confused myself, you know, what's the best thing to do. But I think Sadie, you know, what they did was good inspiration. And I think you do need to arrest people. I'm kind of in that level now of name and shame, you know, do the MP stuff, do the council stuff, you know, charge them with...
It's true, you can make citizens arrest, but what tends to happen, we have a fellow Dragutin arrested the police officer, and then they came back and arrested him for assaulting the police officer. We threatened one police officer, the one that came to my house on the video that is called Criminal Cops Caught on Camera. That one's done like 140,000 hits on YouTube. But the guy called Christopher Williams, we said we're going to make a citizen's arrest. And he emailed me back, it was a Sunday. He said, at the end of the day today, I don't work for the Metropolitan Police anymore. So it does have a power. But I think, you know, you have to gather a little knowledge and experience and information and work in the field and know what you're doing a little bit and be confident. You can't just act on impulse and do what you feel is the right thing. That's not most of the time going to be good enough. You have to know the system. So we're doing a combination of different things, and you know, there's different people focusing on different aspects, and there is no one right answer. But we believe we're pushing the government with a petition to review the bogus court orders and restore the victims, so people don't have to go to court. They can fill in a form like PPI and get back what they lost and compensation. You've got to fight in court so that the judges know that the public knows what they're doing, and they are ashamed, and their children and their grandchildren see. You've got to put it on YouTube and social media, Vimeo, whatever, Facebook, like we're doing now, that it embarrasses them. You know, when I say Nicholas Parfit made a bogus court order, Nicholas Parfit is a judge of many, many years with all sorts of position and posts and all that. Here I am saying on Facebook, Nicholas Parfit, you're a bloody criminal. Can he sue me? No, he can't, because I will win. So this is what we got to do. We got to try all the avenues And you know, like I said before, the American Revolution was brought about by 1% of the people, 1% only. So we don't necessarily need the whole nation to rise up and all that. We just need enough active, strong people and people to support in different ways. Some people can do a lot on social media. They can be witnesses. They can help people to write letters. Some letters are standard, you know, to request your court file. It's a standard letter we have. We're happy to give it free. Put your case number, blah, 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 send it to the court manager and ask for your record. You know, we're going to need sponsors. We're going to need all sorts of things. But our biggest weapon, Andy, is technology, like what you're doing now. But I have a problem. I don't want a talking shop. We just talk and spread the bad news, what happened. I don't want to go home depressed. I want to know that some progress is being made. Like Nilu's case today, the bailiffs ran away. I want to know something's happening. You know, before the bailiffs came, she was a little bit prepared. Not wait till they turn up on the doorstep. So the bailiffs are scared. It's a change. Now she has to take that to the MP before they come back and take it to the social media and put their faces out there. So their grandchildren, you know, that's the most powerful thing, to embarrass someone when their children and their grandchildren see that they are doing crime for a living. It is more powerful than anything you can imagine. And it is easy to do and cheap now. And, you know, so this is what we're, you know, we're going to work on all different avenues. And what you're doing, Andy, by setting up and running this radio station is phenomenal.
It's not only this, when Nilu doesn't have any problems of her own, we call people live during the day and record them and then put it out in the evening live again. You know, we are people behaving badly, but only for the right reason, because it's helping people, and that's the only reason we do it.
Yeah, and it's fantastic. And you know, when you deal with one case, you're helping that one person or trying. But they like when we deal individually because they just pick you off one at a time. We have to act on a global level and push in that way, and then we can help millions. You know, I want to see the whole show blow up like PPI. That'd be my joy, to sit down in my rocking chair and watch people going with little pieces of paper and collecting all what they've lost. That would be the joy, that would be the achievement of my life. Court order scam busted.
Absolutely. Well, nobody seems to be calling in. I mean, I can give another shout out.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, you know, that's fine. We've got another thing I wanted to talk about here, which doesn't often get dealt with. Very, very important. Is when people find themselves where gangsters are using alleged court orders against them, harassing them, depriving them. Basically, they're going through terrorism. Their family is broken apart, relationship under strain, employment. I got a guy here, a soldier, sitting in the studio giving me the fist because he's been through the shite. You know, served 15 years in the army and coming under a lot of unbelievable aggravation. You know, so the problem is people and a emotional strain, you know, which can break you down. And believe it or not, they have a psychiatrist waiting to sign you off as mentally incompetent so that you can't fight your case anymore. It's standard procedure. Believe it or not. So people need at this time a lot of support. And unfortunately, very often people lose contact or connection with their friends and their family. Because the friends and family see the police and the authorities and all, they just, the assumption and presumption kicks in, you must have done something wrong. And so people have to be aware and support each other through Facebook groups, through this kind of thing, WhatsApp groups. Most of the time is another victim can understand what a victim has been through and can support them and you know, to support them emotionally, go to court with them, help them with paperwork, help them to find accommodation. A lot of help is needed, which the services are not providing. I spoke to people from shelter, and they can't give me any information and guidance on illegal eviction. They can't, they won't do it, they're not going there. They will say, if you're homeless, we'll help you, blah, blah, we'll try and do this and that. But you tell them you had an illegal eviction, they don't want to know. So this is a very important issue, Andy, that people have to reach out to each other. You know, I know somebody like Tom Crawford is talking to so many people. I don't know how he finds the time and energy. And lots of other people giving up, you know, because this is a very important factor, the emotional support. For people to rebuild their lives, you know, personal development. So people have to change their careers. It's driven me to learn YouTube and learn social media, develop a whole nother skill set, how to cope when police handcuff you and bang you in a little place in isolation for weeks on end. How do you survive all that shit? You know, nobody trains you and prepares you for this. And it's, you know, it's a very important factor. So I'm just saying to victims and their families, please, it is terrorism. That's the only word I can count when somebody has an illegal eviction. Please reach out. Please support any way you can. A listening ear is the most valuable contribution you can make. And don't believe it's not your problem, because the average British man and woman is 3 paychecks away from an illegal eviction. So look out, it's coming to a door near you.
Yeah, certainly the only way forward. Love thy neighbour and watch out for your own. Because in a way it is a bit like us and them. Pink Floyd sang about that. At the moment they're making it like that in the governments. It doesn't matter whether you're a good person, you know, paying all your taxes, they're still after you for some reason, and it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, you know, like we said, they tend to swarm you. You get the council coming after you, the court, you get the police come all of a sudden, find something with your car, or they, you know, some minor thing. Yeah, all this kind of thing. But I want to come on to something with the illegal eviction, Andy, a separate little issue here, which is a tremendous issue that is also being overlooked, because people are only normally just focusing on the eviction. It's normally they are taking away people's belongings, the goods, the contents of your house or your business. You know, there is a separate law that covers goods. Before someone can touch your goods, you need a warrant of possession and control for goods, which is governed by the Tort and Interference with Goods Act 1977. And how many of them have it? I can tell you how many. 0. I haven't seen any from my cases I've examined. None of them have the authority or the necessary documentation of paperwork to touch your goods. But they're doing it routinely Police is doing nothing. I have the FCA holding me accountable for losing my goods that's been stolen. Instead of them helping me to get it back. It's unbelievable. They're holding the victim responsible for a burglary. And this matter is live in the Court of Appeal right now. The FCA, Andrew Bailey, you ought to be ashamed of your damn self. Help me to get my stuff back from David Wood. Come on. Is this where you're raising your children to grow up in? Get on with it, mate. Where is the warrant for control of goods? Where is the David Wood steal my belongings? Because when they take your belongings, they have to do an inventory. Everything has to be itemized, every sheet of paper. One of those sheets of paper could be your pension document. It could be a premium bond. It could be a winning lottery ticket. They have to itemize every last bit of paper, computer record, everything. And they're just taking it willy-nilly now, like la, 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 and threaten people, oh, we give you 10 days, blah, 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 blah. Welcome to Great British Justice. Andy's disappeared.
No, Andy's not.
He fell off his chair from that laugh. Uh-huh.
No, I'm not. I am listening, but
yeah.
I'm not the expert on these matters. I'm expert on other matters, but...
Okay, well, that's the goods, yeah, that the people's belongings and goods. There also is a long list of things that they cannot touch. Things you need for your daily living, like your washing machine, your clothes, your watch. Anything educational they can't touch. Anything belonging to an under 5 they can't touch. Anything to do with your professional vocation they can't touch. There was a fantastic case which was won in the court on this and opens the floodgate for all of us. And the case is known as AA versus the London Borough of Southwark. And this guy established in the court the Tort and Interference with Goods Act, and it was against the council, and it was won. So this is very useful to know, and you got to stand your ground. You got to say to the police, show me the warrant for control of goods or arrest these people for theft. And until people start doing it, the police will just brush you aside. The other thing about illegal evictions and is can a bailiff break into your house or not? And the answer is absolutely yes. A bailiff can break into your house. Sorry, somebody's correcting me. A bailiff can break into your house. However,
I don't think they can.
No,
I don't think they can.
Let me finish, Andy, and then we'll be in agreement, yeah? A bailiff can break into your house under certain conditions, yeah? Under the Criminal Law Act 1977, a bailiff can break into your house if he comes to your house with a proper warrant and you tell him to bugger off. He has to then go into a criminal court and get a conviction against you. And when you have a conviction, he can break into your house. Until such time, there is no law in this land that allows a man or woman acting as a bailiff or county court bailiff or appointed county court bailiff. Forget these enforcement officers, they're BS. There is no law that allows a man to break your castle, your house, to break into your house. The only reason they're doing it, they got the corruption of the police to support them on these false papers that they're calling court orders, that are not court orders. And it is scandalous. It's in the millions, not the thousands. And it's just taking homes, savings, children. What's it? Home savings, businesses and children, HSBC. And none of it is lawful. So the Criminal Law Act 1977, Section 45. It's a very short act. It's very nice, one page. It tells you clearly. So are you in agreement with me, Andy, that under these circumstances they can break in?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we've got the caller back on the line.
Mm-hmm.
I think it may be Sadie again.
Oh, hi, Sadie.
Or maybe we don't have them on the line then.
Sadie, they're always calling the wrong number. Anyway, listen, the other thing I wanted to mention here is we're using the word illegal eviction, Andy. But in law, because you know there are three kinds of English language, apart from Jamaican patois, I'm not putting that in there. You've got the street English that people talk on the street to each other. And you got legalese English. And what's the other one? I don't know what the other one is. But there's three. There's one with business, you know, like we talk in school and business and all that. And you got legal English. So legalese, what something means in everyday language is different from what it means in a court of law. So we talk about illegal eviction in everyday English, but in legal English, there is no such thing. Because the word eviction means that all the necessary proceedings have been followed and the necessary orders are in place. And that is primarily governed by the Protection from Eviction and Harassment Act 1977. Section 1 is the best thing to look at. And it clearly states, you know, what it takes to be evicted. If all the steps have been followed and it's been done correctly, then you've been evicted. But if you have not, then you've not been evicted. You've been deprived of your home. So in law, the word deprived is the word to use when someone has illegally evicted you. You've not been evicted at all. So that's what I say. Anybody say to me about my home or my address and I've been evicted, I said, can you show me the evidence that I've been evicted? Because I wasn't evicted. I had some criminals come and chucked out my family and stole my belongings. That's not an eviction. That you've been deprived and your stuff have been stolen. So that is...
Anthony, sorry to jump in there. We've got Colin on the line. There's a caller from Grimsby area. Sorry, Hull. Wrong person, Hull. Colin from Hull.
Hi, Colin.
Hello, man. Hello.
You have to shout a little bit, Colin. Right? Hull is very far.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you okay, but the technology we got connecting up here, it requires you to shout a little bit stronger.
Okay. That's the first time I've been told to be louder. Yeah, I've been listening obviously to your show tonight, and well done, Nino, for getting a little bit of a result tonight, getting the bills to go. It's quite shocking. I've actually watched a solicitor tell police officers that their illegal paperwork, and the police officer, I'm quite confused at where things are going. Just everyone seems to be getting ignored. It's quite shocking when you actually think about this, that the police do not know what the law is. That is a fact. You said earlier about the courts, when you say to the courts, or when you try and ring the courts turn around to you and say, don't ring us because we're just courts. Seek legal advice. Yeah, you go there for legal advice in the first and the last places. why are these people allowed to use illegal paperwork? That's my questions.
Well, the answer to that is, Colin, who is allowing them to use illegal paperwork? And I think we all know some of us know the level of corruption. I disagree with you. I think the police do know, and if they don't know, it is very easy to check. You pick up the phone and you say to the court, can you tell me, is this paper issued by the court or not? And then if there is a question mark and the victim complains a little deeper into the issue, they are going to examine the steps. And right back to the very first step, has a fee been paid for these proceedings? Was a fee paid for the warrant? Was a fee paid for the application? Was a fee paid for anything? How do you get papers out of the court when you haven't paid any fees? I've got a lady sitting here in the studio. We got a letter from the court and a letter from the council who took her house. The CEO of the council, which council is it? Southwark Council, famous for a lot of things, that there was never any court proceedings. This is after she lost her home and her son died in the process. Unbelievable. So what it is, we know, a lot of people know, a lot of people don't know. More mainly is the victims who know, and the public don't. The public is on the presumption and assumption that the officials are acting correctly and lawfully. And our job, Colin, and our responsibility and what life has brought to us, we didn't go looking for it. Life has brought to us the call to push at the highest that this terrorism on the members of the public and their families be stopped and some arrangements made for them, their position to be restored without them having to fight in court. I mean, all the people watching on Facebook and all that, some of them might not have faced illegal eviction, which is our main topic tonight, but nearly everybody has had their car clamped or something, somebody holding them hostage to take money on the basis there was a court order. And I can tell you, there was no court order.
Yeah,
so
we know this.
No matter how old your case is, if you have the number and the reference numbers, you write to the chief executive of the clamping company and ask for the court order. And if they can't produce it, you claim aggravation from them. You claim harassment, distress, alarm, whatever it is, and claim a few grand off them and put the pressure on, turn the screw. You know, and we got to push it into the parliament, to the government to do something, because these people got a license, Colin. I'm sorry, I keep talking. They got a license. They are making billions. I understand David Cameron is a part owner in Capita, who is doing a lot of these stuff. They're making billions because when you got a court order or a bogus court order, it's just like you're printing money.
Yeah, but like I said, when a solicitor actually, and if you go on the YouTube and have a look at Fearless, it's all over there, and a solicitor has actually stood there saying to the police officer, look, Matt, this is illegal paperwork, this is fraudulent, and the police are still not doing anything. I've done it myself, where I've reported the theft of the millions in Hull. I've exposed them all. I've been dragged through the courts through it all. And I've been to the courts and stood there and so like expecting justice, but you don't get it. No matter what, you don't get the justice. All you're getting is fobbed off, you're an idiot, or whichever, like the poor lady that's in your studio now. You're basically an idiot. Now, if police officers are doing this and ignoring it, and they are doing, because it's not just me that's reported money missing and fraudulent elections, and the lady herself, she's reported stuff, I presume, to the police as well. Every bit gets ignored. where on earth do we go to? Where on earth do we go to? Because if our police are up on the laws, what chance have we got?
Okay, Colin, according to my understanding, every time in history where authority has been delegated to certain people, they have abused the powers. So it's not a strange thing. Apparently, it's a normal thing. The balance has gone one way, and it has to be restored. And you've fought your case. I know a little bit about your background. You're a tremendous guy. But when you do something and it doesn't work, doesn't mean you can't get a result. Sometimes it means the tactics you're employing didn't work. You've got to employ another tactic. And I believe the tactic we got to employ is to act in numbers. Not to go rioting on the street, because they love that. They're prepared for that. Not gonna, but we got to act intelligently. We got to act in numbers, and we got to act in a way they can't defeat. And my nuclear weapon is very simple. I have never been served with any proceedings issued by the court. Thank you.
Stop.
No one can defeat that. And if we get 10 million people doing this, Colin, are we going to get a result?
A big sigh from me, because as you know, as the young lady in your studio knows, it's quite disheartening the way these, and I keep saying it, I said it to Andy last night, these adults in brackets, and yeah, you hit the nail on the head when you said that. They're all, you know, they're referring to abuse and everything. Yeah, I personally think I did it wrong last time.
You didn't do it wrong. You tried a way, you tried a method. You were right in principle, you were right in law, you were right in facts. But it didn't get the result you wanted. It doesn't mean there is no other way. How many times did Einstein, what's his name, make the light bulb? I think 990, I don't know. And then he found a way it works, you know. But we have now, Colin, you and I are talking now because of only one reason. We got audience from all over the world watching on Facebook. Only one reason. We got some rudimentary piece of kit on a low resolution laptop webcam and a mobile phone. We're hooking up, but we're doing a radio and TV program at the same time. This is new technology, new weapons. And I believe if we act in the right way and act in the numbers and push the right buttons, we have I don't know if you know, Colin, but we are already achieving a lot of results, a lot of changes. A lot of people are resigning. They're tweaking a lot of laws. People are being scared. Head of councils are running away. We're getting a lot of results. I was invited and called the other day to speak to the head of Three Rivers Council because of a few letters I wrote to him about an illegal eviction for a lady called Mrs. Zaidi. And they were scared enough. They invited us to come and sit down in their offices and speak to them. And they had the head of legal department. Now, would you call that progress? A step in the right direction?
No, I call that them being quite scared and want to find out what you know.
The fact that we can scare them, Colin. Yeah?
Yeah.
The fact that we can scare them, it means we're doing something different that before never happened. It's the first time in my life I heard the head of a council call someone in who's been taking them on. I've learned how to write smart letters, and they're scared. He admitted that he is accountable for the acts and omission of all the staff and agents of the council under Section 12 of the Fraud Act. That carries 10 years in jail. He admitted to me that. Is that progress?
It's progress, because if I was sat with him there, I'd have been jumping all over his ass and arresting him.
Probably I should have done. So we had Sadie called earlier, her bankruptcy, they've adjourned the case indefinitely. They don't want to give us the win, but it's a win. Now we get 20 like this, 30. We got other people copying our system and using it and maybe adding their own flavor. But in principle, the proceedings have never been issued by the court. You prove me wrong and you can do what you like. As long as you can't prove me wrong, I'm going to keep going. It's only one sentence and I can't lose. And if enough people start to do that, you know, a lot of the keywords to do with illegal eviction and wrongdoing, when you key them into Google, my petition comes up. It's amazing. The power of the platform of a petition. It's not just the petition, it is reaching the public. Because we're putting up these videos and these updates and newspaper articles and showing the change that is going on. Cases being won. That when you're a victim, you're blind to, because you're in this darkness. You can't even see when the light comes on. But you know, it is happening, and we're gonna push. If I genuinely believe there was no hope, there was no chance, we're in a police state like Zimbabwe, whatever, I would go somewhere else to live. What? Tell me again. Somebody's telling me.
I was googling the judge.
What's your judge's name?
Judge Stone, and you came up.
So this lady googled her judge, Judge Stone, from Barnet County Court. She googled that judge, and I came up because I talked about that same judge. So the stuff we're doing, my friend, it's got power, serious power. Somebody Google, if it was anybody, you read up, you see that, oh, this judge is doing bloody crime. Look what the man said about him. It's been here, this thing is here 12 months and nobody sued him. He must be right. What do you say?
Colin's batteries run out, I think. He's dropped the call.
You can't afford to let your battery run out, you will lose. But you see what I'm saying? It is an incremental progress. Sometimes, you know, we're victims and we think our expectation is very high. We think we're going to press a red button and everything will be sorted. But we have to recognize where we are in the corruption and that we have to take incremental steps, one step at a time, towards a resolution. You know, it's the battle between the forces of evil and the forces of good. And the forces of evil pendulum has gone very far one way. And we got to swing it back the other way, towards the middle. We're never going to get rid of corruption, but it's gone too far at the moment. So I can see, and you know, my mission is to give hope to people and hope to victims, not by false hope and talking, but by showing cases and by research, taking the time and effort to research cases that are coming out in our favor, and to study what is the tactics, what is the law this person used to win his or her case, and then we can utilize some of that effort. And right now what we're seeing in that context is Article 5 of the Human Rights Act 1998, or the ECHR, which the European Commission of Human Rights from 1952, which is saying the public authority has a duty of care to the individual. Yeah, this is a very powerful new finding we've come up with, and somebody won a case on it in the Supreme Court recently, which states they have a right to claim compensation from the exchequer, not to run after all the perpetrators, which would exhaust them and cost and time. And the government got to sort it out, and that's established. That's so powerful for us, Andy, that if we let this go by and don't talk about it and talk about all the negative and the crap that's going on, which we are aware of, but we don't talk about the juicy breakthroughs that are going on at the same time, then we're doing a disservice to ourselves and the public.
Hey, so there, mate.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I just wanted to look for the record. I agree with everything Colin's doing, and I'm helping him actually. In fact, if anything, I'm probably encouraging him. I've done other stuff peacefully. It's not made any big result, but it has made a result. So if we can make a result in Holland November the 5th, by arresting, not the MPs actually, that's just kind of what we're publicising, we're arresting the stakeholders and shareholders of Hull City Council, a bit like Roger Hayes did with the judge. We're doing the same, and I'm not saying it's going to work because you never know, but we might be on the right track.
Well, you know, I believe about 100 years ago, I read somewhere, the police didn't have the power to arrest anyone. If someone needed to be arrested, it's only a member of the community could make the arrest. Police couldn't do anything. And now we have a position where if you want to arrest someone, it's very easy. It's a three-step, three things. Who done wrong? What did they do? And what law did they break? You go and you lay the information. You're supposed to get your summon. But for some reason, they don't want to do it. And that has to be brought back because we've seen so many cases, Hillsborough and all these things. IPCC head had to step down, or all kinds of things breaking down in the corruption pyramid. That it has to be restored, that if you have clear evidence of a crime and you want to issue a summons against
90 seconds.
It should be easy.
At least we have, what Jesus said years ago, we have the truth on our side, most of us. And it's only the people who don't have the truth on their side, it's the people that, they've got to worry about it. But when you've got the truth, and you can prove forward, then you're quite, you're
60 seconds.
Anyway, 60 seconds, last words.
Last words, Andy. Get your computerized court record if you need it. Email, what's your email, Andy?
It's Andrew Peacher, ANDREWPEACH.
Anyway, your email is on the thing.
gmail.com.
andrewpeacher@gmail.com. We can give you a template letter to get your computerized court record, and therein lies the master key to your case, and then you can say, I have never been served with any proceedings issued by the court, and nobody can beat you on that. They can only delay, but they can't deny. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.